Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time we had a message from Shogun in a couple of forms it seems like. We got an email, we had a chat message from Shogun, and finally we had a parcel that was sent directly to us from Shogun. And then we decided to ring our sister because in the email it mentioned that Shogun's target might be Nanami next. Yeah, these are definitely all eyes. Crazy that we didn't notice that before. I say we, it's just me. Just me in my room, not noticing things. I'm sure you guys noticed it straight away, didn't you? Anyway, so we noticed that in the email there was mention of Nanami being the next target of Shogun. And we, alerted to that fact, we decided to ring her. We rang her, and we noticed that there was a ringtone coming from inside our shipping container house. And we looked around, we found a box, and in the box was some foil, and inside the foil was Nanami's chopped off hand holding a phone. And I'm guessing that Takumi is now going through a moment of crisis that there's only one person that can pull him out of, and that's Saratan, so let's find out if she can.
Taki! Hey, Taki! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Saratan. So I've been thinking, we should just quit the game. Oh, hang on, was that Saratan speaking? I guess it was. Game?
I know that Nanamichi is your precious little sis, but it's probably already too late.
It can't be too late. It can't be.
I mean, when you get your arm lopped off, you usually bleed to death from it. It might be difficult if we're in a game, though.
Why? Why Nanami?
I'm sure this is already game over. If you don't quit the game fast, loads of people will die.
But Saratan, you always beat up the bad guys.
That's 'cause I'm from an anime.
Oh. We're at the crossing. I forcefully shoved Saratan's figure inside the inner pocket of my uniform. I have to save her. I brought Saratan as a good luck charm. In a normal situation, I never got caught dead carrying around a figure, because it'd get damaged, obviously. Destroying a precious waifu was the most horrible thing an otaku could do. But right now, I couldn't bring myself to abide by my usual policies. I needed the emotional support above all else. And on top of that, I might not live to see another day anyway. I took one last glance at Saratan. Her head was sticking out of my pocket, and by doing so I managed to hold back the tears that were on the verge of flowing out. Suddenly, someone bumped into me from behind, making me stumble. I turned around to see some DQN staring at me with an annoyed look, and yet much to my surprise he didn't say anything. He simply vanished into the crowd. I looked around. I was at Scramble Crossing. The crowd was so huge it was hard to believe it was 9 PM on a weekday. Not to mention that the very same day on an earthquake that had killed 100 people. I felt like I was suffocating, waiting for the pedestrian signal. People were surrounding me from every direction. And for some reason I wasn't aware of, the media was flooding in too. People with huge TV cameras were forcing themselves onto the road, halting traffic. The flashes coming from them every couple of seconds nearly blinded me. A group of people who were likely reporters were giving passionate speeches to their respective cameras. What happened? A few policemen were attempting to shoo away the mass media and pedestrians standing in the road, but gaining back control of the situation seemed pretty much impossible. It was like a paradise for people without cars. Were they holding some kind of event? Why this late? Why today? Considering 100 people had died, that was definitely in bad taste. Didn't they have any kind of respect? If there was an event, it was crazy that even the mass media was joining in on the insanity. Japan was over. Meh. Not that it mattered to me. I have to save her. I have to save her. The place Shogun had told me to go to was O-Front, a building which sat right in front of Scramble Crossing. The one with Tatsuya and Starbricks, that's funny, located inside. I really didn't want to come alone, but I couldn't get in touch with Remy no matter what. No matter how many times I tried. And the police were probably still mistaking me for the new-gen culprit, so I couldn't go to them. But the time Shogun had set was getting closer and closer, and I was too worried about Nanami to stay home, so I had no choice but to go there while holding on to Seratan. I carved a path through the sea of people, and somehow managed to get inside O-Front. Unfortunately for me, it was pretty crowded inside too, and I didn't even have the strength to be upset about it. The only thing on my mind were my prayers for Nanami's safety. I took the escalator that led to the upper floors. Using one of the windows inside the Starbricks, I was able to look down toward Scramble Crossing. Now that I was looking at it from above, it was even more crowded than I thought. And they weren't just standing there either. Some were waving, some were jumping, and some were doing both. Countless dark heads bobbing up and down. It was even more blinding now that I was down here. Hang on. It was even more blinding now than when I was down there. It felt like all the lights were pointing at me. With each new floor the escalator brought me to, my heartbeat got faster and faster. I took out my phone to check the time. There was 1 minute left before 9 PM, the time he'd set. The thought of Shogun killing Nanami out of anger. It terrified me so much that I started sprinting up the steps of the escalator, pushing aside anyone in my way. Has Nanami's hand really been taken off? I changed to an elevator to access the top floor. I didn't know how to get on the rooftop after that, but as I wandered around, I spotted an emergency staircase. No one stopped me as I shot through it, and I successfully made my way to the rooftop. A strong wind was blowing. Considering it was the end of October, it was weirdly lukewarm outside. It took a minute, but I soon realised it wasn't a natural breeze, but one blown by the outdoor AC unit. I buttoned the front button of my uniform so that Seratan wouldn't fall out.
Thanks bunches, you big dum-dum.
You're welcome. I felt a slight sense of relief when I heard Seratan's voice in my head. Seratan was with me, so there's nothing to be afraid of. I desperately tried to convince myself of that. Before that moment, I'd yet to realise how dark it was. The only source of light was from the back of the lit O-Front sign. Ironically, the neon lights were from the surrounding buildings were too bright for me to see anything. If someone was hiding in the shadows, I'd have been incapable of seeing them. You're late. My heartbeat, which had started to finally calm down, skyrocketed once again after hearing those words break the silence. I looked all around me, but I was unable to figure out what direction the voice had come from. And then I heard a sound. A squeaking sound that I'd heard several times before. This time I deliberately focused my gaze into the rampant darkness. There, I spotted the glow. The backlit outline of a wheelchair's wheels. Ah! Shogun. Welcome, Takumi-kun. He was talking to me like he knew me. Like we were friends. It felt so wrong. Goosebumps sprang up on my skin. I didn't want to talk to him, I was too scared. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible.
Okay then, let's hightail it out of here. At this rate, Taki, you're gonna get killed!
But Nanami was...
You really are a brave guy. You came here alone just like I told you to.
Oh, hang on. That's Shogun. You really are a brave guy. You came here alone just like I told you to. You've definitely got my thanks there. Wait a minute. Something was off about him. He was different from before. Yeah, his voice. Something was off about his voice. That voice. A voice is just vibrations moving through the air. The way it sounds depends on the conditions around it. Aren't I correct? What was going on? His voice kept changing. Was he using some kind of voice changer? Did he want to hide who he was by disguising his voice? Why now then? Why hadn't he before? That aside though, I wasn't following what he was saying.
Taki, don't let him confuse you. Don't let your guard down. No trust in anything anyone says.
You're right. You're completely right, Seratan. Seratan always spoke nothing but truth. I tightly squeezed Seratan's body through my clothes. Where's Nanami? It felt like my heart was about to burst from the fear. Even still, I desperately forced out my voice. I thought stuff like this only happened in TV and video games. Is Nanami already dead? Nope. Nope.
Yeah, no, he chopped off her whole hand, don't you remember? Even if she was alive, it wouldn't change the fact that she'd be about to bleed to death.
Oops. Tears began to flow. Nanami's sulking face appeared in my mind. Honestly, she was a brat. A really annoying one. And yet, despite that, I was so sad. Sad enough for tears to flow. Nanami's my little sister. My precious little... Why? Did you kill her? That's horrible. Do you think she's dead? Did you ever consider that the hand I sent to your place was someone else's? Huh? What I'm saying is, even though the phone and the bangle are Nanami-chan's, the hand may belong to someone else. Nanami was... alive.
I told you not to trust him. Just don't listen.
If you successfully complete the quest, I'll return Nanami-chan to you, no questions asked. Alive, of course. Quest. Shogun had used that word again. Did he want me to think of this like a game? But the real me wasn't a hero. He wasn't anything like one. However, if you aren't able to complete it, Nanami-chan won't be coming back. Suddenly, Shogun's voice became cold as ice. Getting scared of some old guy like this was pathetic, but this man wasn't normal. This man was the new-gen culprit. I'm sure I don't need to explain what will happen if you disappoint me, so don't let me down now. You can do it. Why me? Can't you pick someone else? It has to be you. But why? You are the chosen one. I was the chosen one.
Don't get the wrong idea, Taki.
I'm guessing because of that.
When he says chosen, he's talking about how you're the next victim he chose!
The tragic end of all the new gen victims flashed through my mind, sending shivers down my spine. Don't you remember what happened at noon today? I'm sure you do. At noon? At school, you saved Kishimoto Ayase. Shogun had also mentioned Ayase's suicide attempt in the email. He must have been observing the whole debacle from somewhere. Or maybe he'd been mind controlling Ayase. Maybe he was the reason she tried to kill herself. Thanks to that flower bed, Kishimoto Ayase survived. Do I have that right? Shogun knew about my power. Back at school, no one had even questioned the existence of the flower bed. The only one that had was Sina. Then she'd gone on to accuse me.
You had a delusion of it, didn't you? Taki, deny everything Shogun's saying to you. Go on, give it everything you've got.
Right. Maybe the entire reason why Shogun was following me around, why he was trying to kill me, was because I had powers. If I claimed that I didn't have any powers, maybe he'd let me off the hook. I don't have any powers. Powers? I don't recall saying anything about powers. Shit. You don't have any powers. Oh. Hang on. Okay, yeah, that's definitely Serotan.
You don't have any powers, Taki. You're just an otaku freak. You don't have what it takes to be a hero. You're just a harmless shut-in that likes to fap over me all the time. Ain't that right?
Yeah. The idea that I had actual real-life powers and nothing more than a Juni bullshit I dreamt up. I'd almost been convinced by what Sean and Ayase had told me. Sina. But those two were raging mental cases. They weren't right in the head. And I wouldn't be much better if I actually just believed them without a second thought. Even Remy had said it was delusional. Would you mind explaining what you meant by that? And I'd like to hear about that flower bed too. Do you have any proof of that, that I did it? That's ridiculous. I can never make a flower bed appear out of thin air like that. So the flower bed appeared out of thin air? But everyone I spoke to said that there's always been a flower bed there. You're the only one that says the flower bed wasn't there from the get-go. No one else perceives that in the same way you do. No. I dug my grave even deeper. What kind of monster was this guy? When he'd mentioned that he'd talked to everyone, did that mean he'd physically gone to my school and talked to the people there? I don't have any powers. I don't even know how the hell I did it. And yet you did. Your delusion became reality.
Don't let him fool you. Taki, you really think you have some silly old powers? This ain't some anime world. You live in reality, you dolt. Can you prove that the flower bed and the two Ayasechi were real? You can't, can you? Did you touch one of the Ayasechi when she split herself in two?
No.
So it was probably an illusion, righto? You were probably just scared of being chased by Yachi and the police, so you were starting seeing weird stuff.
Then, what about the flower bed?
It's the same thingy. The flower bed was there from the start. You were all dizzy when you went there to try and find Rimichi. And you only checked if the flower bed was there after Ayasechi fell, right? If no one's questioned the flower bed appearing out of thin air, it means that's because it was there from the beginning. Ain't that right? You just made a little boo-boo, Taki. So don't you dare let Shogun fool you with his lies.
The flower bed was there from the beginning. I repeated what Saratan had said. At first I assumed it wasn't there, but I was wrong. It was just a delusion inside my head. After all, everyone else said a flower bed was there, right? It wasn't just me using some powers or anything crazy like that. I just made a mistake, that's all. No. I know you have powers. And you know it too, don't you? I don't want to die. And you know it, don't you? I don't know, please don't kill me. If only you knew how much power you have. You have a gift. I sense great potential within you. You have the power to change the world. I wanted to go home. I wanted to hole up inside my base and play Year So Forever, glued to a chair for eternity like a disabled person. I wanted to spend my days grinning over Saratan's figure and marathoning Blood Tune on loop. That was all I wished for.
Taki, you gotta get out of there. Here. I'll promise, I'll stay by your side forever. I'm the only one who stands up for you. So come on, let's just go home already. We'll sever your link to 3D forever and live only for the fun stuff.
Now, that's enough introductions. It's time for your quest to begin. He leads you over to a table and it's a D&D session. First, I want you to move to a spot where you can observe the scramble crossing below.
Run away! At this rate he really is gonna kill you!
Did you not hear me? Move to a spot where you can gaze down at the scramble crossing. His tone was soft, yet his voice was unbelievably cold. His voice was so sharp, any will I had left to defy him was sapped away. What are you... My legs were shaking and they refused to move. I wrapped my arms around myself. I'd even lost the ability to discern whether I should listen to his order or not. Are you defying me? If you don't obey me, I can't guarantee Nanami-chan's survival.
She's already dead anyway. You just end up dying for nothing too if you keep trying to save her.
I want to hear her voice. I managed to squeeze that out. My voice, small as could be, however Shogun rejected my request in an instant. That won't be happening. You should really consider the position you're in. I didn't want to think about Nanami's death. I didn't want to imagine her dying. I was too afraid of it. I was too afraid that if I imagined it, it would become real. In the end, I relented. I started walking to a spot where I could look down at Scramble Crossing like Shogun had ordered me to. I could barely see where I was going. If I wasn't careful, I could easily trip and fall. On the side of the rooftop facing Scramble Crossing, a transparent acrylic plate protruded out and up like a wall. It was about 3 stories high. As I approached the wall, I could hear the tumult of the crossing below. The tumult. A single woman's voice caught my ear. It seemed like it was coming from the Jumbotron mounted on a neighbouring building. Do you see the broken part of the acrylic plate wall, where the hole is? I wiped away the cold sweat on my forehead and then, moving only my eyes, I looked toward the wall. Just as Shogun had said, there was a hole where a single person could pass through. It had an unnatural shape to it, like it had been smashed open. It had clearly been destroyed by human hands. Of course, there was nothing beyond the hole, only a sheer 8-story drop, leading straight to the concrete below. Take a step out there and greet the spectators below. Huh? What? Had he just said? Shall I repeat myself? I want you to lean out of that hole, then greet the people below. He couldn't mean...
See? He wants to kill you, Taki. 100%.
I gulped. Was this how he'd gotten the 5 people to jump off? It really was exactly as Seratan had said. There was no way out of it. I was going to die. It was going to make me jump down from here and die. I can't. If you refuse, Nanami-chan dies.
What if you obey him? You die, Taki!
What the hell was I supposed to do? I tried to figure out what the best course of action was, but the only things circling my mind were the most negative delusions possible. I was unable to think straight. Someone save me.
You jerk!
I could hear Nanami's voice echoing within my panic-stricken ears.
Hehehe, jerk!
Memories of Nanami smiling happily resurfaced in my mind. She looked so carefree. It was all my fault. Nanami had nothing to do with any of this. But because of me. She'd gotten kidnapped by Shogun, and then he'd cut off her hand. I'm sorry, Nanami. I'm so sorry. I wiped away my tears, but that didn't stop them. I wiped once again. Then, with my vision still blurry, I slowly approached the smashed hole. And then, more afraid than I'd ever been before, I looked down. Ugh. I'd hate that. Suddenly, a huge cheer akin to the rumbling of the very earth itself came from the people below. A large crowd was gathering in front of the station. The media was there too. They were all there for an event that was about to unfold. Suddenly, a blinding light hit me. I squinted reflexively and looked away. We've used the word reflexively a bunch recently. Then, when my eyes opened, landed upon the Jumbotron of the closest building, what I saw was unmistakably me. Huh? Me? On the Jumbotron was my own face. My own face covered in tears, with my mouth hanging half open like an idiot. My back was hunched too. For a split second I thought I was hallucinating. A chill ran through me as I thought that someone was secretly recording me somewhere. I then considered if that what was being projected there was actually images taken from my thoughts by Shogun. But after exhausting every last possible option, I realised that it had to be a live feed of me, right at this very moment, at this very place. And the video playing on the Jumbotron even had a news ticker featuring sensational taglines. Live from the Shibuya Station Plaza, the amazing Esper Boy finally makes his debut. The ticker commentating the situation was situated along the bottom of the screen. The amazing Esper Boy, endorsed by the Psychic of the Century, Euro Brightman, appears. Don't miss this one. Will he divine the new gen perpetrator's new identity? After reading it, I finally understood. I finally understood what the media and the spectators on the scrambled crossing below were looking at. It was me. Don't look at me. Oh man. Why were they fixated on me? Esper Boy. What the hell was that about? Did any of them have any idea what had happened today? They'd gotten hit by a damn earthquake. A seismic intensity 5 one. Over 100 fucking people had died. Red or green? Red or green? What do we think? Some people say green is the best. Some people say red is the best. I'm gonna say vote red. So, why? Why were each and every one of them? Why were they waiting there just to see if an otaku freak like me would make an ass of himself? Shogun. It was most likely him who'd brought them here. They were all under his mind control. The scene of Ayase falling earlier today resurfaced in my mind. In the midst of a countrywide broadcast, in front of this staggeringly large crowd, in front of countless people waiting for me to speak, I would be forced to jump. And once I did, it would be a prime example of how dead men told no tales. Yes, but boy who planned to use his gift of clairvoyance to reveal the new gen perpetrator was actually the culprit the entire time. A shocking conclusion. An unbelievable plot twist. The population would then complete their false narrative, one in which I leapt to my death as a way of repenting for my crimes. The curtains would close on the new gen after a most shocking display. My body would smash against the concrete, my limbs would warp in unnatural directions, blood and grey matter would splatter across my crushed head, and the entire country would witness my mangled corpse. The audience wouldn't be satisfied if I didn't go to such extremes. That was what entertainment was all about. Yeah. All I had to do was die. That way they would all be happy. And not just them, I'd be happy too. Because if I was dead, I wouldn't have to go through something so painful, so frightening, ever again. Oh, here we go. Time to die. The world will be much better off without me. Kill yourself, Takumi. Not, haha, go kill yourself. Actually kill yourself. Had the answer always been that easy? I never felt more at ease. All my worries melted away. And so, carrying that feeling with me, I threw myself into the open air. Oh shit. Quick, make a flower bed. The nightscape of Shibuya Station spun around and around. I fell to the earth. I felt the wind rushing over me. It felt nice. Hey everyone, look. I'm a bird. Well, there he goes. Ain't he a dumbass? That's gonna be Seratan? Maybe? No. No, no, no. I don't want to die. I was scared. This close to pissing myself. I should have gone to the toilet before I came up here. I never felt so close to death before. It felt like my consciousness was drifting away. And now I was like a child throwing a tantrum. Please. I don't want to go. I started to cry. I hoped that by doing so, Shogun would let me go. I hoped that by doing so, the crowd below would maybe feel sympathy for me and come save me. I hoped that by doing so, the police would realise I wasn't the culprit, just an innocent otaku freak, and then they'd come save me. I hoped that by doing so, my parents, who'd been watching TV at home, would come and take my place. Oh, okay. It's a bit revealing. Self-expose. I hoped that by doing so, Rimi would maybe come rushing in to save me. I hoped that by doing so, I would suddenly wake up and realise that it was all a dream. With this myriad of hopes in my mind, I shook my head desperately and then I cried out my sole wish. I don't want to die. And yet, if you take one more step back, Nami-chan dies. Shogun's tone hadn't changed at all from before. You're already standing on the stage. This is the perfect place for your awakening, don't you think? Everyone who's gathered here is waiting for you. If you disappoint them, they may turn into an angry mob and chase after you. When he said that, I froze, unable to take a step back nor look behind me.
Quit your worrying. He's just trying to scare you. Nanami cheese. Already dead, Taki. Running away right now won't make you a bad person. I promise.
Even if that was true, I want you to focus on the scenery standing before you. Shogun's voice was very calm, which somehow only made him all the more intimidating. I couldn't even find it in me to say anything back. There's only one task you have to do. No, I can't jump. I'll die. No one said anything about doing that. Huh? Was I wrong? Then, did that mean I didn't have to die? Without moving an inch from that spot, I want you to find your D-sword for me. Okay. Find my D-sword? How? I've been searching for it as hard as I could for a long time, but I'd never even gotten close. It was completely absurd to think I could suddenly find it here just because he'd offered it me to. A D-sword could be referred to as a delusionary sword. Do you understand that much? No.
Don't let him fool you, Taki. These swords aren't real. A delusion becoming reality is just plain stupid.
I'll never find one. Before you came here today, you'd already run into several others who have swords. Isn't that right? Surely they told you how to get your hands on one. Remember what they said.
This sword is what, that which bends fate to its will. This sword is what gives coverage all sorrows.
Said that weird.
This sword is that which interferes with the transcendental place. It is akin to another space. Another possibility within the same dimension.
Why is she sliding on a skateboard?
Or perhaps a delusion. Stating it that way does not provide,
hang on. Stating it that way doesn't provide much in the way of meaning. Oh, hang on. She said that.
The sole thing we can know for certain, however, is that this sword exists within that region. It was there before I knew it. At first I did not perceive it. But when I ever so slightly altered my perspective, it all became clear. Perhaps it's already visible to you, Takumi. You just aren't seeing it. Out the world. Study its mechanisms. Is the scenery your eyes perceive truly real? It's possible to turn delusions into reality. Objects that aren't real blend into the scenery around us. In other words, it allows errors to be perceived as real.
That's right. You already have a number of hints. It should already be visible to you. Within the scenery that stretches right before your very eyes. So, what he was saying was... Shogun was hiding a D-sword somewhere in the scenery I was looking at, and I just had to find it. If I find it, will you let me go? Finding it isn't the only thing you have to do to complete the quest. You need to actually grasp the sword. Just make sure that you follow the rules. You can't move a single inch from that spot. There was no way I could do it. If I couldn't move from here, how was I supposed to grasp the fucking sword? What the hell did he even want me to do?
I'm telling you, he asks for the impossible because he wants you dead, as a doornail, Taki. If you're unable to do that, Nami-chan's life will be forfeit.
Oh, hang on, that's what he said, right?
Let's run on home, okay, Taki?
But he just said that if I move one step from here, Nanami will die.
I've told you 1,000 times! Nanami-chi's long gone!
But he said I could save her.
Are you really believing what he's saying? What if he's lying?
I strained my eyes. The bright lights from below made it hard to see much of the scenery at all. The farther away it was, the harder it was to see. I was trying as hard as I could to look around. The scenery I could see from here wasn't all that vast. Most of it was hidden behind buildings. But I had to find my sword. And I guess we'll end on there. Is this the sword? Is it just this here? I guess we'll end it there to see if Takumi actually finds where the sword is in the scenery of Shibuya Scramble. Next time on Borderland Games, thank you so much for watching this episode of Chaos Head, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.